Everyone, thank you so much for clicking on this Netflix review. The fact that you're willing to sacrifice a few minutes out of your day to consume my content really does mean the world to me. For those of you that are unaware, I review everything that gets released on Netflix. So if you're ever curious about whether something is good, bad, or completely mediocre, come to my channel and I'll let you know. So guys, subscribe because I want to become your go-to Netflix guy. And today we're going to be talking about season 2 of Special. And this series, I've got a lot of conflicting emotions about it. And so this is going to be probably a bit more in-depth than my usual reviews. So probably the thing I enjoyed most about this series is actually what it's based off of. It's based off of the memoirs of Ryan O'Connell, who also stars in this series. He wrote the series and he co-produced it. So that's like a powerhouse move right there. That's someone that's dedicated to telling a specific story. And that I can admire. That takes a lot of dedication. And so I take my hat off to him in that regard because he really put his heart and soul into the series. So you can really see that. So Special is ultimately about a gay man who suffers from cerebral palsy. And it's ultimately just about his life day by day, the struggles he faces, being a minority and a minority within a minority. So he really feels secluded as an individual. And so the series is about his struggles and it's about his day-to-day life and how does he cope. And so as someone that always, I feel like everyone can feel like they're an outsider. Even within our social circles, we feel like we're outsiders because of different reasons. And so I feel like we can all relate to the main character in that regard. So this is where the series now is going to become a lot more dicey. In this review, I'm going to be a lot more careful about what I say. You guys were not happy with what I had to say about my Sexify review. And honestly, I stand by everything I said. But I do understand I could have probably been a little bit more politically correct with the way I handled myself. So in this review, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you what I believe and how I feel about the series. But I'm also going to be a little bit more understanding of where you guys might be coming from. So straight off the bat, I'm just going to say, if you're a conservative in any way, shape, or form, this series isn't for you. This series knows who its audience is, and so they're catering to that audience. So whether you're a member of the LGBTQ community, or if you're like super straight, or you're completely against the transgender movements, anything like that, okay? Gender politics, gender identity, groupthink, all of that are core themes throughout this entire series. And so if you're someone that really wants to avoid all of that, then seriously stay as far away from this series as you possibly can. This series knows who its target market is, and so is making a series that is aimed straight to that target market. And they found the bullseye and they've thrown the arrow right in there. And so you are not going to avoid the political messaging this series is trying to spill onto you. And the series definitely doesn't shy away from portraying the realities of that lifestyle either. That's probably something I really didn't enjoy about this series either. I'm someone that really doesn't enjoy hookup culture, open relationships. I believe that relationships are supposed to be intimate and they're between two people. It's a deal you make with one another. You're going to look out for each other and protect one another. And this series, the main characters have multiple partners within several episodes. And it's a lifestyle I personally don't support. And so again, if you are very against that lifestyle, it's going to be very hard for you to enjoy this series. But again, this series knows exactly who it's catering to. And generally, these lifestyles appeal to that target market. And as I was saying, the series really doesn't shy away from that lifestyle. The series can be very graphic in the way the characters interact with each other and how they dialogue with one another. Serious PG moments coming up here, but a direct quote. Okay, I don't like to swear, so it's not going to be a direct quote. But there's a discussion between two sexual partners after they've had a sexual encounter and they're busy complaining about like excrement on private parts. And that's a reality of that lifestyle. And it made me incredibly uncomfortable. And again, it's because I'm not planning on living that lifestyle. I don't want to engage with this sort of stuff. Honestly, there were multiple times in this series I wanted to stop watching, but I just pushed through. I watched the whole series so I could give you guys a more accurate and believable review that could give you my true uncensored feelings. But the series isn't all negative. There are some positives if you really look. The performances were great across the board. The characters were realistic. Shift that. The core cast of characters are realistic. You get a few caricatures, which are pretty much just one-dimensional characters, and they're like the supporting cast. But when it comes to our core cast of characters we're supposed to care about and engage with, they are real. You feel real. You understand their struggles. And so that was enjoyable. Again, you do get those one-dimensional characters as a supporting cast, but they're not the characters you're supposed to care about in this series. The series was also shot really well. It was a very professional production. And so if you're looking for a good production in that regard, this is definitely something you can look for. And then honestly, the biggest bonus of this series, depending on how you're going to look at it, is the main character, Ryan. Ryan is a type of character that you will not see in any other series or movie. Not only the fact is he gay, but he's also suffering from a disability. It's like this combination that you see so seldomly, and that's what the series really thrives off of. And there are some golden moments in this series that actually made me emotional. And they're generally in the flashbacks where you see this young boy just interacting with his mother, and the mom is trying to live her life. She's a single mom. She's looking after this disabled boy, but she just loves him. And so moments like that are incredibly powerful, and that's cinema. When you evoke emotion from someone, those were incredibly powerful scenes. But those golden scenes were so few and far between, and they're separated by these moments and these actions and these scenes that either make me feel uncomfortable or I just really didn't approve of. And so this series is a perfect example of how the world is splitting in two. You've got two very distinct parties. You've got your more conservative party and you've got your more liberal party. And so the liberal people are going to love this series. So conservatives, or I'd say probably even your more mainstream audience, is going to find this series so extreme and really struggle to engage with it. So look guys, who would I suggest this series to, or who would I recommend this series to? Conservatives, no way in hell. People that enjoy Christian movies, that read their Bible, no way in hell. Liberals, people that enjoy the LGBT community, people that are openly politically correct, that are social justice warriors, people like that are really going to enjoy this series. For me, who was looking for positives and found moments I actually enjoyed in the series, I would never watch this series again. There was too much in it that crossed the line for me, and I understand the whole point of art is to cross the line, and it's messaging, and you can get political with art. But many of the scenes I would almost say are almost tasteless. But again, the whole goal of the series is to reproduce or reenact the reality of living that lifestyle. And so again, yes, it makes me uncomfortable, but that is how specific people just live their lives. And so that's human nature at the end of the day. There are specific people that act a specific way, and the specific people that don't act that way. And this series is a great representation of that. So yeah, guys, that's just my review on Season 2 of Special. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a tough one. It was a tough one to watch, and it was definitely a tough one to review. But guys, thank you so much for watching my video. You guys are the best. You're awesome, and I hope to see you again in another review.